And you want an AI agent that either gets bored or gets irritated and says, I'm sorry, but I don't have time for this. And once it does that, I think it's got emotions. Now, like I say, emotions have two aspects to them. There's the cognitive aspect and the behavioral aspect, and then there's the physiological aspect. And those go together with us. And if the AI agent gets embarrassed, it won't go red.
Yeah. So there's no physiological.
And its skin won't start sweating.
Yeah.
But it might have all the same behavior. And in that case, I'd say, yeah, it's having emotion. It's got an emotion.
So it's going to have the same sort of cognitive thought, and then it's going to act upon that cognitive thought.
In the same way, but without the physiological responses.
And does that matter? That it doesn't go red in the face, and it's just a different, I mean, that's a response to the
It makes it somewhat different from us.
Yeah.
For some things, the physiological aspects are very important, like love. They're a long way from having love the same way we do. But I don't see why they shouldn't have emotions. So I think what's happened is people have a model of how the mind works and what feelings are and what emotions are, and their model is just wrong.
What brought you to Google? You worked at Google for about a decade, right?
Yeah.
What brought you there?
I have a son who has learning difficulties. And in order to be sure he would never be out on the street, I needed to get several $1 million. And I wasn't going to get that as an academic. I tried. So I taught a Coursera course in the hope that I'd make lots of money that way, but there was no money in that. So I figured out, well, the only way to get millions of dollars is to sell myself to a big company. And so when I was 65, fortunately for me, I had two brilliant students who produced something called AlexNet, which was a neural net that was very good at recognizing objects and images. And so Ilya and Alex and I set up a little company and auctioned it. And we actually set up an auction where we had a number of big companies bidding for us.
And that company was called AlexNet?
No, the network that recognized objects was called AlexNet. The company was called DNN Research, Deep Neural Network Research.
And it was doing things like this. I'll put this graph up on the screen.
That's AlexNet.
This picture shows 8 images, and AlexNet's ability, which is your company's ability, to spot what was in those images.
Yeah. So it could tell the difference between various kinds of mushroom. And about 12% of ImageNet is dogs. And to be good at ImageNet, you have to tell the difference between very similar kinds of dog. And it would got to be very good at that.
And your company, AlexNet, won several awards, I believe, for its ability to outperform its competitors. And so Google ultimately ended up acquiring your technology.
Google acquired that technology and some other technology.
And you went to work at Google at age, 66?
I went at age 65 to work at Google.
65. And you left at age 76?
75.
75, okay.
I worked there for more or less exactly 10 years.
And what were you doing there?
Okay, they were very nice to me. They said pretty much you can do what you like. I worked on something called distillation that did really work well. And that's now used all the time.
In AI?
In AI. And distillation is a way of taking what a big model knows, a big neural net knows, and getting that knowledge into a small neural net. Then at the end, I got very interested in analog computation and whether it would be possible to get these big language models running in analog hardware so they used much less energy. And it was while I was doing that work that I began to really realize how much better digital is for sharing information.
Was there a eureka moment?
There was a eureka month or two. And it was a sort of coupling of ChatGPT coming out, although Google had very similar things a year earlier. And I'd seen those, and that had a big effect on me.